Okay, so we are back with the C-600 tetanus cab, and we're working on the interior today. Where we left off with this, we had talked about where is he? He's usually on vacation. There we go. So we had talked about the interior on here, and we did a red oxide primer, and then we did a nice color, a coat of say it with me now. German gray. Yes, thank you very much. German gray. I thought that would have a nice industrial type of atmosphere for the cab. And then we did a little bit of a salt technique in here. A little bit of, actually, I take that back. We did the glue technique in here. So we can have like a worn area. And you can see I did a little bit of Ushi powder right through here to make it look like it had been worn down to the actual bare metal. Did that over here on the fronts of the seat lip area. Excuse me, it was tacos for lunch today. Pardon me. But and then we did like a nice little grime wash inside of here just to give it some little bit of buildup and stuff. And then we did kind of like a beat up type of steering wheel look here too, just to really emphasize the fact that this is a well used vehicle. Something I don't think I ever actually discussed about this kit was that my whole premise for this was going to be that this was the yard switcher truck. So you go to places like when I used to work at UPS, and we used to unload those trailers in the morning, and we had a yard switcher truck, and that thing would, all it did was just back up and pick up a trailer, move it out, put in a new trailer, so we could unload it. And then that's all it did all day long, was just switch those trucks around. And one of my club mates had mentioned that he remembered the place he worked at had a yard switcher truck, and he said that that truck was beat to heck. It only had like 300 miles on it, but it's been there for all of its life type of thing, and it was just, really worn out. And if I recall correctly, at the UPS facility I worked at, the truck was pretty well worn. I don't even remember what it was, but it was the only vehicle that was guaranteed to operate all the time because it needed to. All right, I remember one time it did have a breakdown, and the two mechanics that were on call were racing. They were pulling stuff out of that thing and slapping parts in it as fast as they could to get it back up and running again because we had to get those trailers unloaded, and time is money and all that jazz. All right, so what else are we going to do to the interior here? Well, we have our seats painted up, and I decided to do. Ooh, that's a little close. Excuse me. I decided to do two different color seats. I just thought that was kind of fun. I did a light grime wash on the seat. We did that with the dark brown Tamiya panel liner, and then we just slathered it over the whole seat. And then we took a Q-tip or cotton bud, and then we just rolled it up from the crease of the seat. Just roll it up like that, and it leaves behind this really cool looking texture. So I thought that was pretty cool. And you can see we sort of have an area planned to put the chairs. So it's a little bit of a clean spot there. And we're going to glue those in place. We're also going to try and get this guy in place because I probably should have put the little shift mechanism in there earlier. And this is an automatic. So Louis and I were talking about how he's like, I don't think I've ever seen an automatic. And I'm like, well, I've seen some photographs of some of them being automatics, and it's like just the one. But, it is what it is. Automatic would probably be really easy for doing yard switcher stuff anyways. All right, so we're going to glue the seats in place, and I'm just going to glue it in place with some of this stuff here. The Zap Canopy Glue Formula 560, the thicker Elmer's type stuff. We're going to glue those in place with that and let that dry up, and then we're going to come back and then we're going to do a weathering pass with this stuff just to dusty everything up. I don't want to put super glue in here. Just because of the fact that the windows are one solid unit, and I'm worried about stuff gassing off and causing stuff to fog up, which would probably add very nicely to the effect of the build, but we're trying to limit the variables as much as possible sometimes. So we're going to go ahead and glue the seats in place, and then we'll come back and we'll do the weathering. All right, let's see if our seats are nice and dry. Yeah, they look good. Let's give it the upside down test. Smoking. We also glued in the shift lever. I don't think that's correct, but that's the only way I could figure how that's supposed to go. So it is what it is. Um, Also, a friend of mine, Mr. James Duff, had suggested that what we should be doing is down by the carpet where the pedals are. Can we see down there on the floor mat? We did some sanding down there to wear through the floor mat where the heel of the driver's boot would kind of wear through the floor mat. So that was a great suggestion. Thank you, Mr. James. And then also, Mr. Doug Wilson had commented on our last video and said, don't forget, I even have a little note here, don't forget to wear out the paint where the driver's elbow would be on the cab door. So we will be doing that. Doug, thank you for the advice on that. And then I kind of went down the rabbit hole a little bit yesterday, and I decided, we need a clipboard and a pencil. I just kind of fabbed that up real fast there, and that's going to go in the cab, like on the passenger seat, something like that. So we'll glue that in place when it comes time. But I just figured, you can't do nothing without your paperwork, right? So there we go. He's got paperwork. So now we're going to get on to kind of dusting up the area there. It looks nice and grimy as it is. But I do want to do a little bit of powder work in there and see how that kind of changes the aspect of things. So we will blend and all that kind of jazz. Let's see. Let's try. What's that dark color called? Mud. Okay, cool. That's a little. Let's get a new one. There we go. You can get these on the Amazon because that river has everything. Let's see here. Let's try up in here. On camera. There we go. Okay, cool. Oh, that tones it down a little bit. Okay, I like that. That looks good. Blend. There we go. So, can we see the difference from side to side? I like that. I like that a lot. So, more mud. Add it on this side. Get it into the grooves. And I always like to say, get it into all the crooks and grannies. There we go. And then blend. Sweet. Okay, I like that. That's sweet. Okay, cool. So, more mud. Oh yeah, let's get it on the chair too. That's how we handle our happy accidents. All right. So a little bit of the glue had squeezed out when gluing the chairs in place. I'm going to hit that with some of this stuff here to try and tone down because it left a little bit of a glossy sheen, and I'm going to see if I can't tone that down some. I'm sorry, I'm not on screen. The camera's in a weird angle today. Then I try something new, and you know how that goes. Draw this up from the bottom. There we go. Blend. Nice. Now it's just a subtle effect, but it's helping. I swear it's helping. Let's try. What's that middle color? Light sand. Okay, so sand, light sand, and mud. All the colors of the rainbow. If the rainbow was in Arizona. Cool, alright, and then I'm going to go along the top with the light sand and just sort of give it a, there we go. Just like that. Sweet. Yeah, that looks cool, that looks cool. Let's see how it does on the green. It's hitting the edge. Cool. Alright. And then, like maybe the wear on the sides. I'm sliding in and out of the cab. Blend. There we go. And again on this side. More. Okay, here we go. This is what's going on my brain. More. Blend. We're not filtering anything right now. All right. Now we got to use the blow off. I don't have any compressed air in here. I am the compressed air in my shop. Okay, I like that. I'm going to do some on the dash. Also, let's start with the mud. And then kind of work around the gauge pod. And then I'm just sort of patting it And then I figure we would probably have more buildup closer to the windshield than the actual edge of the dash. So I'm going to build it up along that ridge there. Ridge line. And blend. Yeah. Can you see the difference there? The mud color is very dark, so it is a little bit harder to see, especially if the camera won't focus. A little bit harder to see. Then so let's go to the light, and I'm switching this applicator thing to the other side so I can get the light part. Load up your brush. All right. You know, for this bit, we really should have Bob here for this. There we go. The layering of weathering. Blend. That's my thing. Oh yeah, that's even betterer. Oh, I like that. I'm going to call it quits at that point right there, and we're going to go onto the shoulders here. There we go. Hey, that's bringing out a little bit of the detail on the door card. Cool. Oh, das ist cool, ja. Ja, das ist cool. Okay. 3 years of German, and that's all I know how to say. Ja, das ist cool, ja. And that's from a Bugs Bunny cartoon. Oh, yeah, good, yeah, das ist good, yeah, oh, yeah. There we go. And blend. Ta-da. What do you think? Should we do some on the floor mat? But of course, and this is where this long handle is going to come in handy. This guy, that's not going to work out so well. So let's see. What do you think? So let's do the light color here. And on camera, please. Thank you. That's why I need a production manager. And then I'm going to try very hard not to break off that gear shift lever or the steering wheel, because you're witnessing it right here. This is an afterthought. All right, so got it in there, and I'm just going to do a light blend, lightly blending it. Oh, see there? I hit the hair. I hit the handle. It's wonky. Okay. I like that. That looks cool. I'm good with that. I'm going to see if I can dig through the parts box and see if I can't find a couple more little pieces of junk to put inside the cab here. I would love to have some sort of like toolbox or maybe even a lunch box would be cool, or something that could pass as a lunch box to stick in here. And then of course the clipboard. So we're going to go dig through some parts box stuff, and then in the next segment, I'm thinking we're going to go back to, I'm going to move this out of the way gently. I'm going to get back to this guy here. I did glue in the headlights and the headlight bezels, and then the background, so I stripped the chrome off of all this, but in the background we did use my favoriteest chrome marker now, the Gundam FX marker. So yeah, we just painted it in back there. I gave it a couple of hours, and then I glued in the headlights. It seems to work out just fine. I forget the detail that's supposed to be in here. A friend of mine was telling me how that's supposed to look. It's supposed to be like red and blue. I don't remember which is which. I'm going to go do some photo research on that. And then I'm going to do some light sanding on the Ford lettering here and see if I can't bring that out. But otherwise, I like how this looks. We're going to take it, wear off the part there for the arm that Doug Wilson had suggested, and then we're going to try and do the rubbers around the windows, and then there's a little bit more rusting technique on there and stuff too. So a few spots here have a lot of drippy rust on there. It's always been my type of what do you want to call it? observation that that kind of stuff happens a lot on vehicles that sit a lot, don't get a lot of road use. They just start, the rust staining and stuff just starts to happen. I really like this light one right here. I think I'm going to try and emulate more of that on the rest of the stuff that we haven't touched yet, and then move on from there. And then maybe a little bit, not too much streaking here and there, but just a little bit here and there. And this looks really good. This looks like where the drive, if you have your janitor keys hanging off the side of your pants, that looks like that would be right where they would knock. So that looks good. And yeah, let's see if we can fix this. This looks more like graffiti than it does rust, but we'll see if we can address that also. So yeah, I want to go dig through the parts box, and we'll be back in a little bit. Okie doke. So we are gluing on the exhaust pipes yet again because they keep, I don't know, there's just, this one's fine. This one is the problem child. It just keeps wanting to fall back off again. And you'll see that this one's at a different angle than the other one is, and I have that on purpose. This one has like a little hanger that goes to the frame rail, kind of hooks over the frame rail or under the frame rail, however, when it's flipped right side up. And then the other side, the other side is the mirror image, and I decided, trucks like this, they probably wouldn't have exhaust pipes hanging exactly perfect anyway, so I went ahead and just set this one on the frame rail rather than hang it from the channel. So yeah, that's that's by choice. Also the fact that it just doesn't want to stay. I'm not sure why. This side glued up just fine with the Tamiya cement, and this side here I'm having to revert to super glue. And if that doesn't work, well, I don't know what we'll do if that doesn't work, but chewing gum may be involved. So we got that going there. I would like to flip this over and show you what we have going on inside the cab, because that's where we kind of left off, but we have to let this cure up. When I get to this part of a build, I like to, you can see this little washcloth size piece of a towel here is pretty dirty, and that's just because I cleaned a brush off on it once or twice here or there. It goes through the wash pretty regularly, so it's not like filthy or nothing. That's just stained. But when I get to a point in this build here, I like putting stuff on this little towel here so I can just rotate it back and forth without having to drag stuff across the deck or rub off any paint that or scratch anything like that. So I like having it on this little towel here just for ease of maneuvering. Our fifth wheel, we went over it with what is this stuff here? One moment, please. There we go. Everything's at my fingertips. So we use some Tulip Slick. This is the black stuff. And then I just went over and squirted it on there in a few areas. Like perhaps he was going to get ready to hitch up and then never got around to doing it. So we got that there. Mud flaps are going to have to, we mocked them up in place to see how they're going to fit and stuff. And now I have to go and sort of weather these guys up to make it look like where the tire would sling some water. And usually those are like cleaner on the mud flaps than the rest of it is, because of the constant bombardment of the water whenever driving through the wet. We have our mirrors. I went over that with the Gundam marker, and I'm going to do another coat too because I've been handling it a lot in the last few weeks. So this side is just a flat aluminum. This side has the Gundam marker on there. And then once that cures up again for both of these guys here, we'll end up putting them on. Oh man, my sink mark came through. Oh! We'll put those on the actual rig cab. And then the front bumper. Well, the instructions say to put the bumper on and then put on the cab, something like that. So I'm like, this has a really good positive location area. It's got a couple little lugs right here to help line up where it goes inside the channel of the frame. But we got to clean off the paint there so that it. And I don't think I'm going to do anything to the back side of this until after we get it on there. I'll probably go back and do a weathering pass with just some washes, just to give it, just to cover up some of that red oxide. But I think we will wait until after the cab is permanently attached to the interior tub, which is attached to the chassis, because I fully feel that if I try to put this on now before we get to the final assembly of the cab, we could end up just knocking this off and causing frustrations. That's never fun. One last thing we got to deal with here. We have the marker lights for the cab. They came out a little bit darker than I had been hoping. but maybe maybe it is what it is. So there's that, and then I have the cab horn. I just don't like putting this on top of the truck. It just feels like it would be kind of interesting if this was like behind the grill type of thing. So I might try to figure out how to mount this inside the engine compartment rather than stick it on top of the cab. And then another thing that I'm slightly contemplating is that on top of the cab, let's just show you this here. Let's get this out of the way. Burrito time. There we go. Ooh, that sounds good, actually. All right, so the cab. We did a color pass on the emblem there. I don't like it. It's too vibrant. We're going to tone that down. We have some nice, really nice looking streaks off the, some like weathering streaks off the rusty bits. I really like how that's looking. We did a weathering pass along here, and then I discovered, oh, that's supposed to be like a side marker or reflector or something, so I got to go back and do that orange. But we had a problem. We had a big problem with the cab. I didn't realize this was happening until I put on my cheaters and took a really, really close look at the cab. This thing was covered in fingerprints. I think they're mine. I don't know. I don't have a fingerprint kit. But I think they're mine. And it just had fingerprints all over the place because this is a very, 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 very flat paint. And it was picking up any type of hand oil at all. So I ignored Kenny Conklin's #1 rule of working on models is put on some dang gloves. So now we have the gloves on. And the glove, this is the part of the fight where the gloves are on. We did some more weathering along the backside here, did some streaks and stuff through here. Now, I don't know if this is just supposed to be, if that's actually a grill insert there, because the air box goes, I'm not sure how the interior fits in there, but I think this is above the deck that's back there. So I think that's maybe just stressing stuff that's in the metal for rigidity is the word I'm looking for. But yeah, I think that's gonna, I just decided to do a little bit of weathering in there just to kind of draw a little bit of attention to that because it was looking a little two-dimensional. And then we got our pull bar on there. I guess this is the bar that's attached to everything so that once you release the catches, you grab this and yank it forward to tip it forward for the tilting of the tilt cab. But, oh yeah, the fingerprint thing. So I discovered that if you use a cotton bud with a little bit of this stuff, this is all Tamiya paint. The blue stuff is jar paint, the white stuff is rattle can. A little bit of this stuff kind of dried out as much as possible on a cotton bud, and we just did vertical swipes for like a weather pattern. And you can see we got some weathering on stuff. That eliminated the fingerprints. Thank the goodnesses. Eliminated the fingerprints, and at the same time made the blue even duller. And oh look there, we got the wear on there. Got the wear on there from our friend that had mentioned that. So we got that there. And then we went around the window with some Sharpie. Now the plan is to get this toned down a little bit and then maybe do a couple more little do the reflector type of thing, and then come back with some TS80, because this is too shining up here. Give it a nice quick shot of TS80, see if we can't seal this all up so we don't have to worry about fingerprints no more or wearing off the weathering type of thing. So give that a quick shot with the TS80, see if we can't tone all this down, and then get on to final assembly, and hopefully that TS80 will make this look a little more rubbery and a little less Sharpie like. I need to do a little touch up right there in that corner. But yeah, chisel tip Sharpie. Got this tip from Old Tom himself. This dude here. Let's see if we can do this. Oh, look at that there. Ta-ta! That's a nice chisel tip right there. And that, I've never been complimented on my Sharpie before. Hey, that's a nice looking Sharpie. Yeah, you just get in there and right along in there. It's so much easier to use on these types of edges than a standard Sharpie would be. But yeah, if you can find these at the stores, get them. Get a box of them. You will thank Old Tom, as I do every time I use it. And then I did a little bit of chrome on the windshield wipers, but that's going to get toned down when we do the flat coat. So that's what we're going to get onto now. But in the meantime, this video is already getting kind of long, so we are going to sign off for now, do some editing, and then upload it to YouTube, and then so you guys know what we're up to. All right, everybody take it easy. Have a great rest of your weekend, if we can get this up in time, because this is Sunday afternoon. And we'll talk to you a little bit later on in the week. This is my Ben Build hands. All right, we'll talk to you guys later. Bye now.